He is so bad. He's wound up.
I only had a cup of coffee and a half. I could endure periods. Kind of like hunting.
I can't wait.
When are you going?
July 16th.
July is vacation month. There. It'll be down.
God, it got quiet in here. Holy cow.
Russell got quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing this. Why is this on mine? Pete, pass this down to Pete. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Eat some time.
Ready?
They're timing your blessings now.
You better not.
Did you say go? Ready, Bill? Good morning. I call together, the regular board meeting of May 2nd, 2022 at 9:30 at Marks Hall. Russell, would you give the invocation of Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Lord, thank you for this day. God, thank you for the presence of all those who have come to this meeting here at Trailer Estates. Give us the wisdom, the forethought, and the knowledge to work for the park as owners of the park. And we thank you for your son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get into the roll call, I'd like to swear in Mr. Todd Lombardi, who was elected at our or appointed at our last meeting. Todd, would you take the podium, please? Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Todd Lombardi,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the government of the United States,
the Constitution and the government of the United States,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office
and I'm duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will and faithfully perform
and I will and faithfully perform
the duties of the trustee of Trailer Estates Park and Recreation District,
the duties of Trailer Estates Park and Recreational District
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
And with that, I see no reason to change the rest of the board. So I'm going to appoint you as the maintenance trustee, and you're going to give my report today. Okay, roll call.
Mary Chandler.
Here.
Lori Dalton here. Kathy Gregory.
Here.
Todd Lombardi.
Here.
Louis Nichols.
Here.
Pete Price.
Here.
Sandy Simonich. Is she on Zoom? Oh. Thank you. Dwayne Trotter.
Here. Okay, is
Not
there,
me.
I thought I said Russell McAllister right after. Oh,
didn't
I'm
hear
sorry. Russell McAllister. I forgot you. I'm sorry. How could I forget you? No, actually, it's this. You smacked me. Sorry,
Okay,
Russell.
and with that, could I have the resident comments, please, if any?
Good morning. Dottie Deer Wester, 1804 Ohio Avenue. I know I looked at the agenda for this morning for the board meeting, and since we don't usually have opportunity to say anything about items up for approval, I wanted to make a couple of suggestions on the parking lot policy. Looks like there's two different pages, but I think one is just the back of the form, identical to the other, to the policy itself, the PP 35. The occupancy section 2 says that no extension of 3-day occupancy permits will be granted by the office. However, section 1 doesn't have that same criteria. It doesn't say the office can't extend the 6-day storage permit. Although down on section 8, I had to count there, extensions and exemptions to this parking regulation may be made by the board of directors. So I don't know if that's just redundant on number 2 and 8 covers it all, or if there's some other reason for it to be there. The other issue I wanted to bring up and recommend a change to, section 3 says Trailer Estates Shuffleboard Club may obtain 3-day permits for RVs, etc. Why just the Shuffleboard Club? Should it say a Trailer Estates Club may obtain 3-day permits for RVs, and take out the word shuffleboard completely? Because there could be other clubs that may have an overnight event. The Veterans Club may decide to do something, the Bocce Club, I don't know. I'm not speaking for them, but there could be other clubs. So why does it only identify one specific club? And if it's more generic, other clubs have that same option. That's all my comments. Thank you, and recommendations.
Do I have any other resident comments? Do I have anybody on Zoom that would like to make resident comments? Hearing none, I'll close the resident comments. Are there any responses from the trustees for that comment?
The Shuffleboard Club was noted that, because that was the original reason that I understand that anyone was ever allowed to have occupancy there. And it was so, we authorized them to issue the permits without the office being involved if they had a tournament. So, and that's what it was in there. And I don't think there was ever any consideration of any other club having an overnight event, but I mean, don't know what action it calls for, but that's the reasoning behind it.
Go ahead.
We can talk about it when we do the,
Okay.
when we make the motion, we can do a
Okay,
discussion, and we can beat it up at that time while I can scribble notes about it.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 18th, 2022?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any corrections to the
Tell me who
minutes?
seconded, because I heard two
Kathy.
voices. Thank you.
Are there any corrections to the minutes? I think I had one for the workshop. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. The minutes are approved. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 18th, the board's workshop?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
No second.
Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes. In, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the fourth item down on the first page, the ARC membership. David's last name is Barry, And then it's repeated again in the residents' comments on the second page. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines up from the bottom on the second page. It's got his incorrect last name.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I had one for the board work. I'm sorry for the board meeting corrections, and I thought it was the workshop, but
Okay, let's go
Yep.
back and what is it?
it's on the second page. And it's under bingo. And it's the
You gotta
third,
show me where.
yeah, it's the third line down. And it just says Lori created a separating from
What is? That would be
workshop.
workshop. So let me put the board meeting back away.
Oh,
Let me
yeah,
go
you
back
said
to
it
the
was board.
workshop, which is where we were.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, I've got the right one.
Okay, all right, now I'm on the second page now, and what am I looking at?
Third sentence down, it just says Lori created a separating from mothers helping mothers, and I think
Separating
you're trying-
letter?
Separating letter.
Yeah. Okay,
Nope, that's it.
all right, got it.
Are there any, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected? Please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say no. Nay.
Do we have minutes for 411 yet? That's a
No.
that's a state requirement.
No,
Gotta get them
that
done.
at the next
Okay,
one.
all right, very good.
The minutes are approved. The report of the treasurer.
As of today, the checking account balance is $2,343.54. Money market is $1,322,505.78.
Do I have a motion to,
That's, you just need to second it, right?
yeah, second it?
You
You have
make
to
your
accept it.
report,
Gotcha.
and
I
then
should know that by now.
motion seconded, sorry.
Yep.
Any discussion?
Wait, we need we need somebody to make the motion. I'll make the motion, then we need a second for the motion. She does a report. We have
Yep.
to make a motion to accept the report and then a motion to a second for that motion.
Okay,
When it comes to the bills, she's making the motion to
Mhm.
pay the bill and then we only need a second.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So we need a second.
So
I'll
we need a
second
second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
is there any discussion?
We will be making a transfer today from money market to checking. $2,000 is way
Is way
too
too
little,
low.
Oh.
way too little.
I was guessing that.
Yeah.
All
my-
those in favor of approving the treasury report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. And approval of bills.
None.
I like that. Informational report from the trustees. Those you want to start us?
Sure. Have numerous infractions I'm working through at this time. I have one request for the residents. Please update your resident profile contact sheets. One of the things I find is I want to contact a resident and don't have valid phone numbers, have to wade through Google and white pages and everything to find people. And it isn't just so, it serves more than just finding you if there's a complaint. It also helps if there's a problem with your house, we need to contact you for hurricane reasons. So please update those informational contract sheets. Thank you.
Russell?
The north side's doing pretty good. I do have a couple of working things with code enforcement. But other than that, it's looking really good. We do need to keep in mind that Manatee County is coming through to do a sweep on our park the month of May, and that's from the county. County will come in here and correct whatever problems they see that are restrictions on their behalf. I did turn in some information to them about some properties that needed to be looked at throughout the park. And I was sent an email back and said, no problem, already looked at. So they're already been in here, did their little a write-up on what they have to find and what they're looking for. And then this month, they'll come in and either assist or take care of the unsightly properties and so forth, and the ones that are breaking the code enforcement rules. I want to ditto on, say the same thing on Lewis. We have a hard time finding out who your emergency contacts are, who takes care of your place, things like that, that we drive around and guess about all the time. And after a while, you just get to where you don't care. But it would be nice if people did update their information with this office. So even your tax information, so you get your proper paperwork sent to by the tax address. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Lewis is right. We just spend a lot of time Googling and all that just to find out information. There's going to be there's a new website on our TE website called Beneficial Information. That's correct.
Dear Trustee Beneficial Information.
Yes, yes, it has a title. And go under
About us.
About Us. Sorry, I'm not a guru on the website. Go to About Us and you can pull up that one that will describe what's going on in the park as far as county goes, what rules they've set forward to get us to educate our owners, since people have a problem saying that they never taught anything. You can go on this website and it'll update you if you want to be taught something, so you can learn things. Other than that, I'm good.
Kathy?
Well, good morning, everybody. The last seasonal dance occurred on April 23rd. For the entire season, includes all 20 dances. At the door, we brought in $9,414.45. We were projected to bring in 8,000, so we went over that. So I thank all the residents who brought guests, who told friends about it. Everybody made this season really successful. And I have contacted the Motion Picture Licensing Corporation, since we have this license, to find out. We were missing the certificate of license. Without that certificate, we can't use this. So I have a phone call to them, and hopefully we can get it so we can show movies this summer. So that's what we are. That's it. Thank you.
How did we miss the certificate?
I don't know where it is. I was left a file. I have a movie license file, but nothing is current in it. So I've called the company. I have several phone calls into them. They're in California. So I'll keep on it until I can get the license. Because without that number that's on the license, we can't use it. So I'm still looking.
Are there any plans to even hold movies this?
We can. I mean, it's a simple thing. Bill and I have talked about it. It's a simple thing to do, to figure out how to do it. I don't know how to get from point A to point B to use it. But,
Okay.
you know, it would be free because we can't charge. Residents only. You
Correct.
can't have guests,
Correct.
but something to do during the summer. Since we already have it, we might as well use it. I just can't. I'm missing a piece of that so that we can go to the website, choose a movie, and do all that.
I remember right, that was kind of expensive too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a chunk of over $2,000, wasn't it? So we might as well use it since we have it.
Okay.
So I'm still working on it.
Pete?
The summer dances start. The first one will be May the 28th. I won't be here. I'm going to be gone all summer. Probably be back sometime around November. So Russell's kind of volunteering to head things up, and we need to get as many volunteers as we can, people to help collect money at the doors for non-residents. And the reason I'm going to be gone is I've got a project going on in Indiana, putting a little cottage up there, and I'll be turning 80 this year, and I figure I won't be able to climb on roofs or hang drywall many more years, so I've got to finish it this summer. So Russell's going to kind of head things up for me there. And another thing too is on the the guide dogs, everyone's probably noticed that the dog that is a statue that's out front here near the Veterans Monument. And I guess there's been some discussion about whether that's where it should be or not. But a little bit of background on that is Southeast Guide Dogs. We sponsor them each year. The Men's Bible Study has been sponsoring them at the coffee break, raising money in order to purchase a new guide dog every year. And the guide dogs, it's not strictly for the veterans, but anyone who is in need of a companion dog, a support dog. And what they do is they do a profile on the person who is applying for a dog, and they do a profile on the dog itself when it's a puppy, and they match up the dogs with the person. Though it's not strictly for veterans, seems like veterans are the majority of the people who receive them. And I've shared this before, but I was very impressed. One time I was out there and I heard this veteran speak. He was blind at the time from wounds that he received in Afghanistan. And when he came home from service, he was unable to function. And he was held up in an apartment by himself, constantly. Someone approached him and told him about the guide dogs. So he applied and was matched up with a dog. And since that time, he's really had a functional life. And he's been able to get a job, have a social life, and get about with the service of this dog. And I guess there was a question about whether it should be placed in the area of where the Veterans Monument is also. But to me, that seems appropriate, because a lot of these dogs go to the veterans who are disabled. And it seems to me like they just fit hand in hand. So that's just a little bit of background on that. And it just gives them an opportunity to have a better quality of life. And I'm just glad that we could be a part of that. And that's all I have. Again, just encourage volunteers to step forward and give Russell a hand this summer.
Yes.
And with what you're saying with the placement of the guide dog, with the veterans receiving that, I thought it most appropriate to place that statute there with the plaque. So that decision was mine as the maintenance trustee and put it there. But I think it's a very good cause for what we've done with that.
Well, since I'm a little behind, only being a trustee for 15 minutes.
You want me to do it?
No. Well, I can start with the storage lot
Yeah,
report if you'd like
okay.
that. So, all right, when I took over the storage lot roughly 2 months ago, there was 84 people on the list. And I have since called all those people, and I can't stress enough what Lou said about the getting your information updated, because there were multiple people on that list that phone numbers are not correct or didn't work or whatever the case is, but I could not contact some of them. But other than that, I've called all 80, I've made an attempt to contact all 84 people on the list. And I have leased out a whole bunch of spots. And we're down to where there's 14 open spots currently on the list. And so anybody that feels they were on that list and was not contacted, get a hold of the office or me, and we'll talk and try to do our best to find you a spot. But currently, yeah, there is really no waiting list. I've got one guy on a 50-foot, and the people that are on the one for the 30-foot waiting list want to be there because they're not ready to get in there right now.
So we have 1 50-foot, 1 30-foot.
I have
and how many 20-foots?
I have 1 18-foot. I have 8 20-foot spots, 1 24 spot. I have 3 spots in the paved area by the post office there, and 1 50-foot spot, 14 total.
Good effort. Thank you very much for taking that on.
Excellent.
Mary?
Budget's done. I spoke back when we were in the middle of the budget about creating a spreadsheet that would have all of the assessments based on your lot size, and you could just filter it by your name or your address, and you would have the ability to know what your non-ad valorem assessment was going to be. Is that something that we want to do, put on the website, or?
Personally, I think it would be very beneficial.
Okay. All right. It's basically
Yes.
done, so
Yeah.
I'll get it to Lori to post.
Good tool for residents to look ahead.
Yeah, exactly. When they're doing their budgeting,
Right.
they'll know what to anticipate for at least the operating assessment. And then I'll update on the bond and the special assessment when we get to that at the
Great.
workshop.
Lori?
All right, first off, I need to know how the board is moving forward with the beautification committee. I've got a couple of reservations made by the committee that the club has now requested. If we are seating a new committee members, I'll need them to release the dates. If not, I need the board's permission to release the dates. And one of those dates is Fat Tuesday, where I canceled other trustee events for the committee. Can I give the club the date or reinstate the other trustee events? I'm not sure how to handle it. And the other date is March 7th for the tea. I also need to know how to handle the club's request to use committees. I can scratch that because they've already reserved a different date for their club meetings. That's fine. And then the last thing I've got a question on is the bulletin board at the post office in the beautification committee section now has flyers that are clubs. I don't know how they got in there. I don't know if the committee had a key and now is using it as a club, or how that's going on. So I need to know what I'm supposed to do with the bulletin board.
In the enclosed ones that we just put up?
Not the ones you just put up. If you're looking at, the handwritten whiteboard, to the right of that, there's some locked cabinets, and one of them was beautification committee. And now there are posters that are hanging there for the Fat Tuesday and for the tea that are covering up where beautification committee was. And I just need to know, what are we doing? Are we reassigning that to club? Are we keeping a beautification committee and therefore that area is the committees? And I don't know how they got in there. I don't know if they've got a key and they put them up, or if they were presented to maintenance and maintenance put them up. I'm not sure. There's a lot of question marks around it. So I just need to know, what are we doing and how am I supposed to handle my stuff?
Well, I don't mind them switching the committee to the club, because that was all approved, as long as the poster is going up, as long as they're within the regulation size of what we have in the policies. I don't see a problem with that either. The keys, I don't know about. I'll have to check in on that.
Well, if we're changing it from beautification committee to beautification club, then there's no question about the keys. It doesn't matter. They would maintain a key.
Mhm.
So that's a non-issue.
Do we provide bulletin board space locked for other clubs?
Some yes,
Okay.
some no. I also have a waiting list of some clubs that have asked for space that was not available. And so I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Now there's a new club that's taking a space that there's been people waiting for.
That's brand new
So-
versus ones that have been an existing.
So I don't
think
know what the
that
right
could be
thing to do with that.
problematic.
And then with it, keeping in the vein of the bulletin boards, the bulletins that are posted are actually too large. They cover up the name at the top of the board of what section it is. They also infringe on the name of the group that has the space below them. So the signage needs to be trimmed down, borders cut off, something to that effect. But once I know what we're doing, I know how to handle it. So if we're going to switch that to beautification club, then I know I can contact the club and tell them they need to trim them down. If we're going to give that space to somebody else, I need to tell them they've got to take it down, get it out of there, and I need their key back. So I just need to know,
Well,
there's just
my-
a lot of confusion.
Yeah, my thought on that is if they were an existing committee already, there would be no problem switching them right to the club and let them have that space. I just don't
But
see a problem with that.
So we don't need to keep it for some future committee of the board.
Well, we haven't decided to eliminate the beautification committee yet.
Yeah.
And I had heard that it was going to be added to the workshop, only I didn't see any title for on the workshop. So I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep this in limbo, and I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to be doing
Till the next meeting.
that I won't be at.
Good. No, what?
Did you just say good?
Wow. Oops.
No, the reason being is tomorrow we have the joint meeting between the fire department and Trailer Estates Park and Rec. I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered between the two on where we're going to go with the fire department auxiliary, as well as some of the particulars that have to happen in there with switching the money and can we get the advances and all that kind of
What
stuff.
rules and
One-
regulation is it that states what size things can be put in
Yeah.
there? Is it a rules and regulation or a PP?
It's logic. If your
Logic.
sign infringes on the titling on the board, it's too big.
But I think there is a write-up that says the size.
I don't know. I would have to go
Yeah,
looking.
yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, but this is a logic thing.
Right.
It infringes on the titling, so.
Okay.
All right.
But
I
since he interrupted me,
Yeah.
with the meeting tomorrow, I took that off of today's agenda just to make sure of what we're going to do with the fire department, if we're going to go have another standing committee, and am I going to abolish blah, blah, blah.
Keep in mind, these are, in my heart, they're two separate issues. We can have two standing committees. We can have a committee whose purpose is to look around the park for ways to improve the aesthetics of the park, and abolishing that just because right this second we don't have any committee members isn't, in my heart, necessarily the right thing to do, because I still would like to be able to rely on someone that is looking specifically at how to aesthetically improve the park like the beautification committee used to. So
I kind of disagree with that, because when the beautification committee resigned and became a club, that was still their main purpose, is to go out through the park and look for ways to improve and beautify the park, as well as donate the money back for any other future projects. That was the whole goal of the beautification committee. So I really can't see having two committees
Well,
pending on what's going to happen at this time. And that's not to say we might have more than one standing committee in the future. But at this point, no.
well, all right, here's our conundrum. We are two voices of nine,
Correct.
okay? And
Correct.
we've heard two opinions, one side, but you and I can't make this pick.
Correct. But if you go
Okay.
back to what I just said, I took that off the agenda for today,
Okay,
pending tomorrow's outcome of the inner.
I think we need to
agreement.
reserve that
That's
space.
going to
on-
be,
yeah.
once I have that meeting tomorrow, or I'm sorry, the board has the meeting tomorrow, that will be on the agenda for the 18th. Is that the 18th?
16th.
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 So that's why it was not on this agenda, and I don't want to hold that conversation until
Nope.
we all hear from the fire department as well as the rest of the board.
okay, so you guys will let me know what happens at that meeting and how
Yep.
I move forward with all my
Ye-
pieces.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, you were gonna say?
No, I was
something?
going to say, I think we need to reserve that space on the bulletin board until we know if we're going to have another standing committee, as space that will be for any future standing committee. Once we've decided there will or will not be one, then it
Okay.
can be available to a club.
We'll just make all
Yeah,
our
yeah.
picks based on,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
absolutely.
All right, next, I received a letter from the TE Masonic Square Club. It seems that there's been some confusion. They volunteer their time to operate the convalescent room. They do not receive any funds from owner assessments, nor do they receive payment from Medicare. If you have a need for use of equipment or a donation to make, schedule an appointment with the person listed on the door. And then lastly, I've asked TJ to have new directories printed in the next few weeks. I've approved ordering 500 of them for a cost of $1,375 roughly, and I'll come back to that. Residents have been paying $2 each for years. Will the board approve raising the cost for the directory to whatever to offset the cost? Let me come back to the 1375. That's the estimate based on the number of pages that are in the directory right now, which is 40. We know that that number is going to go up. One of it is because of the deed restrictions. It was requested that the entire deed restrictions be in the, not just the initial excerpt. So that will add roughly 6 pages. And then I've also been working on an emergency map of the large hall and the small, and excuse me, the activity center, the hall, the entire Marks Hall and large hall, and the activity center that identifies where the AEDs are, the 911 call boxes, the first aid kits, and the outside exits for the activity center. So that we thought that prudent to put in there. So there's another page. So that cost is going to go up even more than what's quoted right now, but I don't know exactly what that number is going to be. We're just guesstimating based on our last directory, which was 40 pages. So what's the board's thoughts on raising the cost for the directories? And are they going to be a cash wash, or is there going to be any handling?
I would go $3. That's
Do we-
going to give us
do
for
we
500.
distribute all of them most of the time? Are they all distributed pretty much?
Well,
Generally-
yeah,
generally,
generally, as new members or, I'm sorry, new residents come in, they always buy 1 or 2 books. So yeah, they usually get distributed out. To me, if it's $3 to cover the 1,375 or more with the additional pages, yeah, whatever the
$3 will
cost
give us
is
It'd just be
the
a
coverage.
cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we don't need a motion to raise that cost. We can just pay, it's a pass-through cost, right?
Yeah, pass
Okay.
through.
Okay, perfect. Then, thank you. That's what and that's everything that I've got on mine.
As the maintenance. My last time, I do have the employee handbook that we talked about almost 2 months ago. There's been some revisions made. I'm still waiting a response from our district council that has been sent back to ISOL with the initial comments, and I will get with you after the meeting, so at least you have a copy of it and can make some comments of your own before that gets the rewrite. And as everybody has seen, the painting is going on. I think they're over now at the post office. Personally, I think it is a wonderful color. I think it's really popping out. And as the chair, I just want to make everybody aware that we have 5 positions that will be up for next year's election. And if you would like to become a candidate, is to obtain your candidates packet from the Board of Elections in Bandit County. And I think we just got in 4 or 5 packets in here if you'd like to stop in the office. We don't have any standing committees, old business. Okay, we'll go right into the new business. The first one we have there is the parking permits.
All right, I make a motion to approve the changes to the parking permit PP 35 as discussed at the workshop on March 7th, 2022 and April 18th, 2022.
Do we have any discussion?
Second.
I'll second it.
Do we have any discussion?
Do we want to make any changes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Similar to
that's where I'm heading
Right.
with this.
I mean, I don't see a need to make a change. I mean, if it comes up, if another club wants to do it, I mean, the board can make extensions and exemptions. I would think we could deal with it on a per case basis.
I'm trying to if the individual comes in on a Friday night and is going to stay the extra day, I can't see having to wait all the way till the next board meeting to make that decision to extend the nights.
I don't think it's a board extension, isn't it? The
The
trustee?
Hang on, we're getting confused.
Yeah, it says by the district's board of trustees. I see what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on PP 35 right now.
Mhm.
And what you're talking about is actually the rules and regs, which is printed on the back of PP 35, but it's actually the rules and regs that you're talking about changing. So can we do PP 35 and then fix the rules and regs?
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
is that okay?
Yeah, that's what
All
we
right,
need to
now,
do.
there is a couple of typos that I've noticed on PP 35. If you look at the fourth line down, vehicle description, color, make, model, and you'll see that there's still an underline under the parenthesis and the colon. And then it happens again, a couple, 3 lines down when it says, will the vehicle, same thing. So I need to fix those. Anybody see anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
What about the question that Dottie raised up on the Shuffle Club?
That's on the next document. That's going to be on the rules and regulations. And this piece is just a copy of the rules and regulations to be printed on the back of PP 35. So we'll beat this up with the rules and regulations.
Okay.
Okay? That makes sense to everybody? Okay. So the PP 35 front is, you want to take a vote
Is
on it?
approved.
No, you have to vote on it.
To vote.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're prompting you.
Uh,
No?
I guess what I'm having a question about, if this is printed on the back, don't I want to approve the whole thing before I get it?
Well, I think what Laura's saying is what's on the back isn't really part of the form. It's just a reproduction of the actual rule and regulation.
So we're
So
going to
if it
be,
changes, you
so-
don't have to change the form. If the rules and regulations change, you don't have to change the form.
so we're not going to be handing a piece of paper. We're going to hand them 2 if they want to get this.
No, they're gonna get a piece of
To me,
paper.
this is so much simpler.
They're going to get a piece of paper, but their piece of paper is going to have a copy of the rules and regs. The revision date on the rules and regs may be different from the revision date on PP 35. This is just a reprint of
Yeah.
what's in
Okay.
rules and regulations.
And I
This is
agree
a
with
new
it.
concept rather than retyping it. Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the form with the corrections, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay.
Okay.
Motion is passed.
Now, I make a motion to approve the changes to the parking rules and regulations, Part D, page 6, as discussed at the workshop on March 7th, 2022 and April 18th, 2022.
I'll second that. So we can discuss it.
Any discussion? Do I want to start this off again? I like the comment on the Trailer State Shuffleboard Club. I know that was always the standing because they used to be, geez, I don't know how many people were here before, but I understand that they used to be lined up even with the camping over here. But it shouldn't protrude anybody else from being able to use that parking lot. So I don't see why we can't put all clubs.
So just
Trailer
take
Estates
out-
Clubs.
Just take out Trailer States, take out shuffleboard.
You know, and
So it
just
says
put
Trailer
all
States Clubs.
Yeah.
They obtain 3-day permits in
And just
club
being-
sponsored,
Right.
club sponsored events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, down further under D, you'll see I forgot to delete a strikeout. So I'll get that, I'll take that out too.
So in 8, the extensions and exemptions may be made by the district's Board of Trustees.
Hey, I don't, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to change that? So we're
Just
not
to-
requiring to make a board meeting to do that?
Yeah,
you could say by a trustee.
trustee,
Aye.
Yeah.
north or south trustee.
That'll help.
Do you want them to say
Or do
north
we-
or south trustee or just a
Well,
trustee?
I don't want to put the burden back on you guys. If you're gone, can it just be any trustee that can make that?
Or a PR trustee. I mean, that would give two of us at least.
Well, do you want it restricted to the two of you or do
I
you
don't
want it to
care.
any one of the
How
9 of
about
us?
Can all y'all make that decision?
So if we're walking, so if I'm in the
Right.
office and somebody asks for
Mhm.
Yeah.
an extension,
Yeah.
that can just be approved.
Yeah.
Okay, by any district trustee.
All right, so extension exemptions to this parking regulation may be made by,
And they just take the out
Any
and put
district
any.
trustee.
any district board of trustee.
District.
So we take
Trustee.
off the S.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, am I approving this form also?
Yes.
the
You're,
PP.
you're approving rules and
So I did-
regs,
As
Part-
amended.
part D, page 6, the overnight parking
Okay,
lot. It's
So is
how it's,
there-
it's
so-
how it's identified here. It's rules and regs, page 6.
page 6, okay.
That's what we're approving.
So do I have a motion to approve the PP 35
We had a motion,
Rules
Mary,
and
before we discussed, we had. the
as
motion.
changed?
I make. a
Oh,
mo-
I see.
oh,
As revised, okay.
We're going to approve the rules and regs as
regs.
amended.
As amended.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion is passed. Do I have any reports from the clubs and organizations?
I guess I'm the only one today. Dottie Deer Wester, 1804 Ohio Avenue. The two clubs I'd like to speak about is the Computer Club and the Veterans Club. I've submitted articles for the Tribune for the summer, and we'll also post information on Channel 732 for the clubs. The Computer Club will continue to do tech support as we have volunteers in the park. At the time people do request that, we continue to take membership throughout the summer. So we're not stopped doing the work that we're doing. People still need help along the way. So I encourage everyone to contact the club. Information is in the Tribune and on Channel 732 about how to do that, to let us know if you need help to do tech support during the summer. On the Veterans Club, November 11th is Veterans Day. And I think I've spoken before that we're planning to do a ceremony on Veterans Day. The traditional time is 11 o'clock. There will be an article in the Tribune about that as well. What we're planning to do is to have a ceremony. We, in the past, have had a Trailer Estates color guard, honor guard, which I think is pretty cool. We plan to do that again. We had members in the park who are veterans carry their own respective branch of service flag, which I think is also pretty cool. We have talented people in the park who can actually play the taps. It won't be by machine, which a lot of posts are doing these days because you can't get people to do who have the skill. And we have that skill in the park, and we have a veteran who's volunteered to do that as part of our ceremony, which if you've never heard that, you get goosebumps all over. We also plan to have a reception afterwards. I'm talking to the Beautification Club about that. And we also plan to invite our neighbor, Discovery Village, to participate in this and also to bring over veterans who reside in their facility to come over and participate in our ceremony. I think that's being a good neighbor and reaching out to veterans. In addition, we plan to hold a flag exchange in the afternoon. This is where people in the park have tattered American flags that need to be replaced and properly disposed of. They will be able to bring their flag to us. We're planning to have it in front of the post office. We're still planning all this. And exchange their old tattered flag for a new flag. And the flags would be donated by local posts, DAV, VFW, and American Legion. So I think that's really a good reach out to the community and a way to, do what we should do with our American flags. The other thing will be on the workshop agenda is the topic about POW flags. Our park does not have a POW flag. We have 4 flagpoles, I think, if you include the fire department location. And the plan is to, on that day, to raise the POW flag on the flag over here by the office as part of the ceremony, which would also include the honor guard. So that's our plan. Read the Tribune. We need volunteers, as everyone else does, to participate in that day. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Thank you.
Terry Ellenberger, 6810 Massachusetts, Cook's Night Out. Ticket sales went good. We have 84 tickets sold, which is pretty good for this month. Just wanted everybody to know that the menu did make it into the Tribune. It has the menu for the rest of the season, as well as the dates that all the tickets are being sold. We added 2 Sunday nights of bingo, which is going pretty good too. So anybody that doesn't have access to the Tribune paper can get it online. That's it.
Thank you. Do I have any other clubs and organizations online? Hearing none, I'm going to adjourn the Board of Trustees meeting at 10:21. All set. Okay, call to order the Board of Trustees workshop for April 18th here in Small Hall at 10:22 a.m. The first item we have there, or I'm sorry, is there any items that need to be added to the workshop agenda by any trustee? Hearing none. The first item we have is the recording workshop agenda for the seawall repair.
Yes, we have weekly check-ins with the group that's working on the bond financing. We were supposed to have one last Thursday and we weren't able to make it work. So it's scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. So I apologize. I don't have a big update for today. We are going to be busy over the summer months though. We have RFPs, we have 4 banks that have responded and we're following up with a couple of other ones. Once we are able to actually consider which place we're going to take the financing option from, we're going to have to do a series we're going to have to approve a resolution to do the bond financing. I'm going to have to prepare a preliminary tax roll and make it available to the public. So there'll be another posting. We're going to have to do a mailing to every single property owner. That mailing has to take place 30 days before we hold a public hearing. And then there's 2 publications in a newspaper that have to take place before the public hearing. So there's going to be a lot going on in May and June to get all of this stuff wrapped up. But right now, based on where we are, I'm estimating that the public hearing will probably be on the June 20th board meeting. So I just want to know, do we have a physical quorum that's going to be here on June 20th? And do we have the ability for those who aren't here to call in so we can just have a good representation when we do that?
I think everybody's going to be here. Okay.
Okay.
I won't be here.
Will you be able to call in?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't have service where I'm gonna be. but I
okay,
could go-
okay, all right, that's fine. I just want to
can-
make sure we have a good representation because that's
still
going to be a
have-
big one.
My question is the bid was only good for 90 days. Now we're talking June 20th
Right,
at
and
least.
then
So
we
I'm
haven't
gonna have to go
closed yet.
back and ask them to extend their bid.
Yes and no. We can consider moving forward and using some of the 300,000 that we accrued
Mhm,
for this project to get the job started
mhm.
so that we can lock in the bid if they won't extend it. That's an option. We need to make that decision though, if that's what we're going to do. And when we get the bond financing, we can replace that money in the general fund.
Well, that's my next question. How confident are you that we're going to get an approval?
We have the 4 banks that have responded already, are offering good terms. They're pretty flexible. One of them said they will do anything between 15 and 20 years. So if we want 17 years, they'll do 17. I mean, it's up to us. They're being very flexible and they're being very flexible on the amount that we get. So we'll be able to find one that will work with us and give us an assessment that we're comfortable with. I'm pretty confident. That's just one, and there's 3 others. And there's 2 that they're still following up on. So I think we're going to have a good pool to consider. The public hearings on the 20th, and then we have to approve it, and then we have to actually close on the loan. So it could be end of June before the money will be available. So I don't know what they can get started between now and the end of June.
I'll have to check.
Find out from them what they would need from us to lock in that if they won't extend it.
We have those.
At what point does the interest rate get locked in on the bond? When you close or do you
Well,
get any
no,
guarantee before?
once we choose the company that we're going to go with and move forward with, we'll lock in the interest rate and the terms at that time. And I'm hoping that that's going to happen at the 16th meeting. We'll be able to consider the banks that have responded and what they're offering and be able to determine which one we're going to move forward with.
And we're allowed to use the accumulated money that's already set aside for the seawall.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and Chapter 170 of the Florida statutes dictates all of the rules that we have to follow. So I've spent an ungodly amount of time looking at all of those. That's how I know all the timing, but
What was
Yeah.
that? Which,
170, Chapter 170. So I think, yeah, I'm not worried about that. We've got the money that we've been setting aside for the last 4 or 5 years that we can use if they won't extend the bid with the current pricing. I think we should try that first.
You know, that sounds to get out of here.
So we approved the budget with a $1.5 million bond, correct?
No,
No.
the budget we
No.
approved was an operating budget only. It has nothing to do with this. This is going to be a whole separate resolution for this financing. We'll have a public hearing and then we'll move forward. And
Okay.
it can
So we
be,
haven't committed to an amount. To move ahead, my concern is when we get ready to go, the interest rate isn't what we had expected. We have all the flexibility to adjust the amount if we have.
yes, we do.
I mean, if it's 6 or 7%, which I don't expect that,
No.
we don't have to borrow the additional funds for our capital
Absolutely,
project. Okay.
absolutely. We have options. I mean, we have to borrow the $1 million because that's what the seawall is going to
Yeah.
require.
Okay.
Anything over and above that, we can consider when we, once we know what we're going with for financing and term and interest rate. And then that's what we can move forward for the public hearing for.
have these 4 give you any proposals yet as far as what,
Yep,
interest rate's going to
yep.
be?
Yeah, the financing company has them. They haven't shared them with me. I'm hoping we're going to get that specifics tomorrow.
Okay.
We have the meeting tomorrow at 1:30. That has to have a hard end at 3:30 because Maggie needs to leave and my meeting with the bond people's at 1:30, so.
Yeah,
When you said 1:30, I went, we have a meeting tomorrow at 1:30.
No, I'm meeting
Yeah,
with them
you
at
were-
three
that's what
thirty,
you were
right
referencing.
afterwards.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna get more specifics then. I wanted them before this meeting, but we weren't able to schedule it with all the parties.
Any other discussion? Questions?
Are we locked in with the provider for the seawall construction now?
Yes. Well, if he says, no, I'm not going to extend my
Yeah.
bid offer, then I would have to cancel that and go to the next low bidder.
Mhm.
And there's some things that actually have to be done and approved in a short time.
We don't know when that 90 days is up off the top of your head, do you?
It was May 2nd. Yes,
Oh,
today.
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 Oh, gosh.
That's why I've got to get back to
Oh,
them.
yes. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the POW flags.
Yep, can we make this interactive so that
Yeah.
Dottie can speak? Dottie, would you be so kind as to come up to the microphone and we'll have an interactive discussion about the POW flags. You've heard it, Dottie said that she'd like to have some POW flags, donated POW flags placed at various flag poles throughout the park. Dottie, I know the one here, the one at the fire station, the one at the post office,
At the beach.
at the beach, okay. So there's the 4 locations that you're referencing.
That's all I know of. I don't know
Okay.
if there's any other location. Marina? Oh, yeah, the
Yeah, there's one
marina.
at the marina.
So 5.
Okay, so would they donate 5?
We can get 5.
Okay, all right.
And typically I believe they're the 3x5 sized flags. So clearly, it's pretty much what you see in other places that have the smaller flags under the American flag.
Okay, all right. All right, so does the board support having POW flags placed on the
Yes.
flag poles at
Mhm.
those 5 locations?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hearing no opposition, you got a thumbs up?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. You'll contact Bill to have him take them up the flag poles? 'Cause he
Yes,
knows-
he'll
he
need
knows them
to.
inside out.
Do we have
We've
to
talked
bring
a
this
little
back
bit
as a
already
motion?
about them. And he'll have to
Why not?
decide how they put them up. They're usually on the same flag, the same line, I believe, with the
Yeah.
new grommets or whatever it is they
Right.
connect them with. And then
Right.
when the flag comes down, they all come down at the same time.
Perfect.
But he's the expert on that. I'm not.
I don't
You
know
know, why don't we?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well,
I'm having
it's
a hard
here
time
at the
processing.
workshop. Do we have to bring that back as a motion at the next meeting is what I'm asking. I know
don't-
it's no cost here because it's all being
Mhm.
donated, but
there-
the procedures are,
Yeah,
you do your PP 38 and bring it around forward. So I would,
I can bring it
I
back
wanna
as a
keep-
Yeah, I
motion.
think it
That's
should.
fine.
I'd like to keep
All right,
it
Dottie,
that
you're
way.
delayed until, it'll be sometime in June before I'll be here for a meeting to do the
That's
motion
fine.
unless somebody else wants to do the motion at the 16th meeting that I won't be at. Hearing no
Oh, God, I
volunteers, it'll
can-
be, in-
I,
can do it.
anybody can bring the motion
Yeah,
forward
right.
on the
Well,
16th.
somebody, who's going to bring it back so I can put it in the minutes?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm going to be calling into
Okay.
that meeting, but I'll do it. More than happy to.
All right, very good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, the next one is the disaster plan. I hope everybody's had time to read this, but with the fire department being dissolved, we had to make some changes there. That was going to go to the Cedar Hammock department. And I see one change now that we're going to have to add is Todd's name and number there under the maintenance, which we change every year because of the elections, but that's all right.
Yeah. I can use the same phone number that I've got on the useful phone number list, Todd.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the second item on the second page there that we wanted to change is since we do not have the fire department again, been in discussion with the CERT team, and I would like to make that change that they would actually have notification from the maintenance trustee if we had a disaster. They would get a space here to do our ham operations as well as set up their trailers and everything else, which I think is going to be beneficial to the residents should that ever occur. The only thing I don't see in there is if I have a phone number.
That's why I was
of
looking for a
the,
contact number.
You
for
know,
them.
contact number for a cert. I know they have their website, but I don't want to be trying to look up a website if we have a disaster to get somebody in here from the CERT team. So Todd, would you follow up with the CERT team and get their telephone number?
Yes, I can do that.
And then provide it to me and I can add it to the document when we. This is workshop, so as I move it forward, I'll just add that in here.
And I see that I just jumped ahead of myself. That's on the fourth page. I'm sorry, the fifth page of their phone number. And
The fifth, you want it in both places? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
That's fine.
So the PP 20 and the PP 51 in both places.
No, they're all, we're all
It's all
talking
PP
PP 20. Where are you getting
PP 20, yeah.
51?
I was reading the first part of it,
first part of what?
where this has the names and everything. That's PP 20, but then, oh, I see formerly PP 51.
Yeah, that's the footer.
Yeah.
That's the
I'm sorry.
footer on the document.
And I did include Cedar Hammock's phone number in the front, didn't I?
It's in here in their list of phone numbers, I believe.
Yeah. On
It's
the first,
the last
first page.
page is where,
it's on
Yeah, on the first page, I have the directory up. I have there as Jeffrey Hoyle, who is the captain over there,
He's the chief, yeah.
or
Chief,
chief, I'm sorry.
and you verified that's a good number?
now you have Manatee Emergency Management crossed off on there. Is that,
Yeah, the see the EOC, that is the Emergency Operations Center, which was just a duplicate. So I just crossed that out.
Oh, the EOC, yeah.
EOC, okay.
Yeah.
And then what we did is the Community Action Center, you can either call that 749-3500, but you can also easy dial by 311.
Did you say Community Action Center?
Citizens.
Yeah.
Because this
Yes.
says citizens and
sorry.
there's been
Yeah.
some question
It's
in the
been
phone
changed.
directory.
It's Citizens Action
It
Center.
still is Citizens Action because somebody
I'm still
notified
used
me.
to saying community because that's
That's
what
fine,
it used
not
to
a
be.
problem.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. So I just want to make it the same here, useful phone numbers for the website and in the directory that I'm getting ready to go to print. All right,
And
One other thing on it, the shelters, the second shelter down, Brandon River Middle
what?
School,
Oh, the same page, okay.
that is also a pet-friendly shelter.
I'm lost. for a
Right,
No,
second.
River,
no,
this
it's on
picture.
page.
Under the shelters,
that whole list.
It's page kind of 3. Doesn't have a page number on it, but it should be 3.
All right. Tell me which school again?
The second one. down.
Second one
Braden
down.
River.
Or Braden River.
How are we identifying that they're pet friendly?
right here's from Manatee County, like you can even give
No,
that
no,
to
no,
her.
no,
No,
no.
just put
I'm asking on
PF.
this list. So there's
Yeah, they say
only,
pet
there's only
friendly on
one
it.
that's pet friendly
No,
on
it
this
says
list?
pet friendly after 2 other ones.
There's 2 other ones on
They
there.
have
that are
pet
marked
friendly in
pet-friendly.
parentheses afterwards. so
Oh,
just-
I see. That's,
just link to that,
that's
yeah.
how I was looking for.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to make it look?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I can do
You said there
that.
was 4?
No,
Thank
there's
you.
only 3.
Just
But
3.
Bay Shore Elementary was the last hurricane. that we had.
According to Manatee County list, I just printed off this morning, it's just 3 of them. It's what, Brandon River Middle School, Manatee High School, and Mills Elementary School. Another thing it might be nice to add there for, since we have a lot of residents that are renters or whatever, not really familiar with the area, is distance from TE to them, you know, which ones are close for them.
All right.
I mean, I don't know, that's really a necessity, but it would definitely be
Mhm.
another helpful thing on there.
It's up to you guys if you want it
I
added.
can provide that for you if you want. I just have to do a little,
So we would just take list of it we have and just put 1.2 miles,
Yeah,
2.2
exactly.
miles.
What I would recommend
Make
on
that
this
another block.
list is adding a block to on the left-hand side
Mhm.
that says distance.
And sorting it.
And then each line would come across and it would say 0.03, 1.2, whatever.
Mhm.
And Todd volunteered to give me the numbers, which I love dearly. So I'll take you up on that if
Yeah.
the board likes that thought process.
Have it for a couple days.
If we're going to add pet friendly, isn't there also a designation if you like need a CPAP machine or any
Special needs.
special
That's the
needs?
next
there
thing I was
should
getting
be
ready
a
to bring
special
up.
need.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, special needs, anybody in the park
Mhm.
needs to register with Manatee County for special needs.
It-
Then there are special needs shelters, so.
But I believe the special needs shelters are by appointment, if you
Yeah,
will.
by appointment.
That's why
only.
But
you- when
they
you
have to do the
register-
paperwork.
Yes, when you register, we'll give you all that information.
So to list them as special needs here is inappropriate because
Okay,
then somebody
Yeah.
thinks they can walk in and
Right,
have
yeah.
special needs, and that might not be a true story.
gotcha.
And
So-
the CERT team has been passing that form as well as hurricane information, disaster information out of the post office, but that is by appointment only, and it has a transit that has to
Right.
come pick you up and take you to that.
Okay.
So here's my first one. Todd, you'll make those changes and bring it back as a PP 38?
No, I
Oh, you're
can,
gonna do it?
I can make the, Chad's gonna get me the data. Sorry, I need to scribble notes. Todd's gonna get me the data. I'll make the changes. But then I'm not gonna be here at the next meeting, but we don't want to delay getting this approved. So
Correct.
somebody else's name, or I can do it in my name and then somebody else just has to take care of my motion in my absence and they can do it on the fly in the meeting. All right. So Todd, do you want me to do the PP 38 in your name, but I'll type it?
That's fine.
Okay. I can do that. All right, cool.
Okay. And the last item we have is the fine schedule, which is myself again. I hope everybody's had time to read this, but the district's council came back and said the schedule is legally fine. But he did make some recommendations that we make the residents aware of the fine schedule, which I don't see a problem because I think that can be posted pretty well everywhere. Is there any discussion from the board members on how they'd like to proceed with that? Because it is important, if you're going to have a $25 fine the first day, it could actually go all the way out the second day, the third day. So we should make the residents aware of that.
Yeah, I think that was always our intent.
Mhm.
We were trying to get, as I recall, we were trying to get the fee schedule approved, and then I had made some recommended changes to rules and regs. Did everybody get that email? It was sent out late Friday.
Yes.
No, I
You
didn't.
probably did
I
not.
did
Anybody
not.
else not get it?
I didn't get.
I didn't see it.
I have a copy right here, extra copy.
Will you give Louis an extra copy?
Yep, I gave them one. You guys have it?
No.
Oh, I did see it, sorry. I lied.
Okay.
Need it.
That's,
And go ahead.
In repliance to Barnaby's letter and everything, we had discussed about giving pre-warning as a first step instead of going straight to a fine. And he doesn't say anything about that in here. I think that's where, I think he wasn't allowing the pre-warning first is what I
Right.
gathered.
That's because we only sent him the fine schedule. We said, is this okay? He didn't understand the
Oh.
big picture
Okay.
because we didn't make changes to rules and regs waiting for the fine
Yes.
schedule. So in an effort, I was always taught at the bank never to show up at a meeting with a blank piece of paper. So this is my not a blank piece of paper, okay? And so what I did was I proposed a rewrite of Part E, which is our penalties for the rules and regs, okay? And that would be in answer to
Is
Mr. Barnaby's statement that, there's got to be warning. They need to know, well, yeah, it's going to be in Part
Okay.
E. We're going to And this is how the process we think we're going to go through.
Okay,
So the first thing is the rules and regs. I've got to fix the very first paragraph of the original rules and regs, and you'll see the circle at the top. I need to fix the chapter number. It needs to be 20, and I don't know why I didn't do that there, but I knew I needed to. Needs to be 2021 dash 261. But then also make the statement that owners, residents, occupants, licensees, and invitees are expected to follow all trailer estates, park and recreation, deed restrictions, rules and regulations, and policies and procedures, and make that part of our rules and regs. Okay, just the blanket statement, you got to follow them all.
Okay.
Okay, then moving forward to part E, and this is, oh, please, beat this up. This is just a midnight type to get something on paper, okay?
Yeah.
And then it was rewriting part E, and just saying as of and what we're doing, what we're doing. And then the way that seemed logical to me was to say what the basic process is, which starts out with number one verbal, but that doesn't mean you're going to start at number one verbal. You might, because of the situation and the severity, you might start out with number two. Just head right into number two. Okay. And then wherever you come into the list, then you work your way down from there.
we're not writing this one in stone.
This is right. You have to have some latitude because it is different. It's a different situation if my grass is 3 inches taller than it should be than somebody who is beating up the equipment in the exercise room.
Right.
Totally different situations. They're not both going to start on verbal.
Okay.
It's just not right, not appropriate. So I tried to give latitude to do that. And rather than doing this and then redoing it, I just put in that I was going to insert the table of violations. So I'll insert the table of violations. So part E becomes many pages because I've inserted all that work that Gordon did. By the way, thank you, Gordon. Excellent work. And I'll just insert it there, but rather than do it and then redo it and do it and redo it based on all our changes, I just said, I'll insert it. We'll
Okay.
make it look pretty later.
Okay,
Okay, Lori, I have a question. This
Okay.
goes really to anybody. We talk about if compliance is not obtained within the allotted time frame. This is the basic process under Part E penalties.
Right?
What is the allotted time frame?
I don't know.
Is
what-
that based on,
It varies by
okay,
By
so,
infraction.
so someone, okay,
If you didn't get an ARC permit, you need to get it immediately.
okay,
If you need to get your lawn taken care of, I believe they give them 14 days,
15.
15 days. So it's different. That's why I can't put a number in there, nor do we want to,
okay.
is
Well-
because each thing has to be handled individually.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll be handled consistently.
Mm-hmm,
If Russell gives them 15 days to solve a lawn problem,
okay,
we would hope that Louis would also give them 15 days, not say 2 days, not say 45 days. There'd be some consistency there, but I don't think we can write it in the rules and regs.
So if you want it consistent, then you should probably add it right to the violation as what the
Right.
resolution period is.
yeah, because I was looking at that going, because let's say that Russell comes across someone and this has been an ongoing issue. I mean, maybe my question, I need to rephrase it. Are these going, if we have a person who, when these go into effect, this has been a longstanding issue. Are they going to jump immediately to the fees and fines? Is there a grandfathered in process? When this starts, to be fair to everyone?
I've been handling it if they have been written up or
Uh-huh.
if they have been notified.
Right.
Because I keep my own records of notifying people
Mhm.
without costing the park money to send them letters.
True.
But if I've notified them, then by the letter,
Mhm.
so if they've actually had a letter and they've gotten 15 days, then I can see going into the fines.
Okay,
Kind of like a pre-warning, but yet The code enforcement does the same thing. They generally give you 3 to 5 days, and then your citation comes into effect.
Okay.
So we give 15 days already, just like we are, which is a lot of time, but sometimes it takes people a few days to think about what they need to do. So I've just allotted that time, and I think you have too, haven't you?
Yeah.
If we, it's my opinion, if we add the resolution time to the document, it
Mhm.
becomes in granite. Okay, which then ties Russell's hands, if he's already been in conference with, it ties his hands to the number that's listed on this paper.
Wait, they're gonna tear you up if Lewis says, okay, you got 2 days to mow your lawn there, and Russ says, okay, I'm gonna give you 15 days, then you're gonna have a problem. So I'm just saying you
I
gotta be
agree.
consistent.
We've
So
always had the 15 days.
No, it's
I
always
don't-
the 15.
I'm
That's
just
just an
throwing out an
example. Yeah,
example.
that's an example.
Okay, I'm
Right.
not saying they're different, but you know,
Mm.
and then I can just see residents saying, well, you give him 10 days and I only
No,
got 5, you
It's
know.
generally
but-
just, and
Well, it could be on one of the other issues. I mean,
Right.
okay,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
on anything like
Right.
that. That's why I just think it needs to be consistent and wrote down.
Some of them doesn't, they don't have any sort of time for resolution. It's just depositing garbage, trash, rubbish, appliances, or other items on the ground in or around the dumpsters.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And-
just a
and-
fine.
And those, it's
There's no-
it's
there's no-
instantaneous.
So that
Yeah.
would, right, okay.
Yeah.
So I have a very broad question here. So because of the sunshine laws, Russell and I can't sit down with this and talk about that, can we?
That's
No,
administrative.
it's administration. Once
administrative?
it's been discussed here,
Okay.
What you
but we can't create our own rules
can't,
until they
Correct.
come here.
No, but we could we work together to create something we bring back to the board?
Oh,
That's what I'm asking, or not?
because we're already basically voting on the fines, saying yes to the fines.
where you run into your sunshine law violation, I believe, is when the two of you sit down and say, I have a problem at this specific address. What should I do? Do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do that? We'll move forward with the attorney, because then it's a votable item, and you know it's a votable item. Because
Why would that be a votable item? What we
the
decided to
board
do there?
votes on moving forward with
to go to the
action
attorney.
on,
is-
at
is
the
a
attorney
votable.
level.
You didn't do that. You haven't sent anything to the attorney.
No,
So,
Well,
so that's a procedure that's generally followed. So that way everybody knows what you're,
so the fines don't have to go to the attorney. I mean, if we're gonna levy a fine, it doesn't have to go through the attorney.
Correct, correct,
Okay,
correct.
so it doesn't have to be voted on.
Well, right now, we're
fines-
just doing
right.
the workshop on it.
Mhm.
Once that's done, it'll come back to the PP 38 to be voted on at the next meeting.
So,
And once that's
Yeah.
done, we already have the fine committee set.
Yeah.
You go right into your hearings and it's
So-
gone from there.
we've been waiting,
Yeah,
really wanting to do this, but now
Yeah.
the rubber meets the road, definitely some more questions come up, because I think we kind of need to draft a letter, a typical form letter, and maybe the board needs to see it before we start using it, or maybe Mark needs to see it.
or if we redraft the letter that we already
that
have.
you already have on file now.
Explaining the fines.
I
That's-
mean, like,
Mhm.
doesn't say where you pay the fine or things like that, you know, I mean, how do you, please remit via money order check. I don't know how much has to be on that letter.
Well, we already have the letter established in there that you have mowed your yard.
Yeah.
And you've got 15 days to correct it.
Yeah.
Then if you want to develop the second letter that says you are being fined.
Yeah.
And if you would like to have the hearing.
Yeah.
Then we would have to set up the 3 members of the hearing committee.
Okay.
Then that would be decided, and then the board still has the right to overrule what that committee
Mhm.
has assigned.
So we better do all that during the 15-day period.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
Let me think about that.
Okay.
No,
That'd give
you're
them-
given them 15 days to correct
Right.
it. If they don't, then it goes to the
Okay,
fine
after
schedule.
the 15
Yeah.
days, okay. So yeah, we could recreate the letter that's already been sent out.
Yeah.
And put that information in there so they have knowledge up front. And then when it comes to the fine, the day you get the fine, they already had the knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think there's 2 letters. The first one says you have 15 days to correct this, or the board will
Levy
levy a fine. And then you need one that, here's your fine. This is how much it is. This is how much it's gonna be if you don't act on it. And this is how you pay it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not just gonna be us mowing yards or the people
Right.
doing all that. There's a lot of,
Mhm.
excuse me, there's a lot of other things that all of us as trustees will be admitting and our manager, whoever's doing the park, that'll be administering a lot of things. This all isn't just the public relations persons doing all this. So it'll be up to 9 people here, owners in the park to.
Well, that was one of my questions is how is this going to be enforced? I mean,
Well, like anything that we enforce now, you're at the mercy of the owner. But when they realize that they're going to get a fine for it, whether it be you, me, or anybody else, then they had an idea, well, there's 9 people here watching this, not just 2 fellas that drive around, tell you to mow your yard. So this applies to all of us. So don't put it back on the public relations because your owner's the same
well, that's
as
what I didn't
we.
want to do. That's why I was
Yeah.
questioning it.
Yeah, and if any owner happens to get this knowledge and be able to teach themselves what these fines are, then they could call in and if they have a problem, then you just call in and let it be known that it's on the fine list and.
I
Go
think
from
we need
there.
a generic cover letter that talks about it. And it talks about how to remit the payment and what will happen if you don't pay it.
Mhm,
Correct.
sure.
And then an invoice that TJ can create,
Mhm.
that they will remit with their payment so she can post it when it's received.
And that's all before the hearing or before it goes to the hearing committee.
And everyone is.
Right, because they'll get it and then they can choose to
Yeah.
request a hearing. Yes.
Mhm. You know,
Yeah.
before sending out these threatening letters, probably should have pretty solid documentation of what the violation is and evidence to support your letter.
Oh,
Right.
Somebody's car alarm's going off.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thought, and digital photography on a lot of it is,
We already do that for the yards, so we can file the liens, so. That's a maintenance. Bill does that most of the time with the maintenance when he goes and mows. So that's pretty simple. And that can be anybody. And it doesn't have to just be Lou and I figuring out that somebody's done something on our own. It can be owners of this park also figuring that out. Hopefully they'll help themselves, police themselves. And that might bring neighbors together instead of just pushing them all apart. They know that that's going to happen.
It would be nice to think that a neighbor might tell another one, you know, you might want to consider that as opposed to waiting for the park to find you. I don't know that it happens, but it's certainly a nice thought.
Well, there's a lot of people in the park that help their neighbors clean up and do things like that after they've been called and told they have a problem. Pete goes over and mows people's yards. So he right there helped his neighbor out and went and mowed a yard that was going to get written up, which I thought was pretty nice.
Mhm.
So there are people that help other people just when they know that.
so do we want to look at this rewrite of party and do like a section by section stomping on it, or how do we, because I'm assuming that the PR trustees are wanting to get this in writing and be able to start utilizing it as soon as possible. That's an assumption. If I'm wrong,
Nope.
just by all means, tell me. So,
My only
Um,
concern is I would like to create those letters and bring them back to the board and have the board put eyes on them before we send a bunch of them out that have a problem with them.
that, I think that's a great idea.
Just like Mary said, the cover letter.
A cover
Like-
letter and a generic
And
invoice.
Dwayne was talking about the regular generic letter that we have, just conforming that
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Sure.
Bring that back
I'll
to
do
the
a
next
PP 38
workshop
for the
for us to
workshop.
All
review.
right, so Louis is gonna work on
Yep.
the letters.
Yep. And I'll do the PP 38.
Well, the PP 38 for the letters. You don't, did you want to take over all of this? Is that what I'm hearing you say, or just the letters?
Take over all what?
Rewriting, we can do it together.
Can we?
Well, no. Yes, I guess we can't because
Who's
that's,
What,
gonna
the
vote
ru-
on it?
No,
The rules and regs, you can't because it's a votable item. That's why when I sent this out, I said, you guys can't talk about it. I couldn't tell anybody I was doing it. I just sent it and then said, don't talk till we get here. Just have some advance review and thoughts on how we can fix this, make it better, throw this in the trash and start over. Doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I was just trained not to show up at a meeting with a blank sheet of paper.
I'll take it over.
All right, so you want to take over the rewrite of Part E?
Yep. E.
Okay. You'll just ship me the stuff and I'll type it for you?
Sure.
did you just call this
Wait a minute.
part A or part E?
No, I call it Part E. I told you the very first page that has a circle on it
Yeah.
is Part A. It's the very
Oh.
beginning of the rules and regulations,
Okay.
period. And we need to clean up that statement. I have to fix the chapter number anyway, so I might as well take care of the rest.
Mhm.
And then Part E is.
Right.
Part E.
Penalties. Okay.
That's kind of why you put it right there like that.
I tried.
Now I see that.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
on the page before that too.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
And then if, as you said, we want to add a column for resolution, timeline of resolution,
Mm,
I can do that. What I'll do, Louis, is I'll get you the penalty table,
Mhm.
but you can just tell me insert the table and I'll keep the clean table as a file by its lonesome until we figure out all the rules and reg stuff. Because trying to put it together and work with it, not going to be worth it. We'll do it as two separate and then marry them at the end.
When do you have to have it all by?
I won't be here on the 16th. Other than that, I'm leaving Michigan the 22nd my last doctor's appointment is June 22nd. So sometime before that would be lovely because my access to internet and stuff in Michigan is really sad.
So you're
Really.
talking June, you said.
June.
Okay, so we got, all right.
This is May.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
This
getting
is
at.
May. We only have 3 more board meetings before I head north.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't always count by months, it's by board meetings,
Mhm.
how I do my math. But if you need help with the administrative side of it, you tell me, I'm happy to help. But my opinions are now to myself, it's you and you scribing what you want done.
Okay.
Okay? That sound good, Dwayne?
the only thing I still would like to stress in there is this is a fine schedule, but it's not to make a profit.
No.
It's
Correct.
just to bring people into compliance of using or to following the rules and regulations. Because when I've sat here, it's been so long since we've discussed
Yep.
this, I look down, the
Mhm.
first thing I see is the trash, people walking up
Yeah.
and throwing trash
Yep.
into the dumpster when it's already heaped over the top.
Right. My happiest outcome would be that we write one fine, somebody pays it, and we never write another one because people go.
Well, I
Well,
truly think that's what's going to happen,
I
but
hope.
We can hope.
hope.
I'll bet the enforcement committee for Manatee County will tell you otherwise.
So we're still good with these amounts and everything. We're not gonna
Yeah.
mess with this.
No,
Okay.
Nope.
no, that was
Like
been
that.
hashed several times.
And then once more.
At once.
Okay, no other discussions about that? Like to have resident comments?
Rod Smith, 6522 Washington Street. You talked about some issues you have in getting information, like on the profile. and on like annual things that need to be renewed, like the pet situation. I think there's maybe a way you can control some of that. You got the fob for one. Now granted, not everybody that's an owner has a fob. And not every renter has a fob. And not every owner that rents a place registers in the office. But you do have a facility with the fob situation and that to gather some of that information. For example, a renter comes in and he follows a procedure and signs up in the office. Well, if TJ has a list that she makes up of what is needed, like for example, the profile needs updated or the animal thing needs updated. If she had a list, she could stop from activating their fob until she gets that information and records that she's done that. Now, for example, like Lou said on the owners where he hasn't got the number, if they're renting, there's a way of getting that. If it's a renter, if the owner is renting without going through an agency, they have to have some way of contacting that owner to pay their fees. And if it's through Harry Falk, they've got that information because they're collecting the money and they're getting the money to that. So I think there's a way that, especially now with TJ, and we're not due to update our fobs until October, and that something could be done to go through that to provide that information so that it would help everybody out on the board. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand. Mhm.
Any other resident comments? Do I have any resident comments on Zoom? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting at 11:05. And please turn